morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Well, it's a Friday, and as they say, TGIF. But then, hey, why not TGIM and TGIT and TGIW? You know, you get it right down until we arrive at TGIF. But the one that has stuck is TGIF. And now we thought we just saw about today. We said, well, it's a Friday. Let's look at the whole business of traveling. Not essentially traveling alone, but moving around, relocating. I'm talking about visas now, because you do need permission once you're going to be moving from country to country. And not all countries require a Nigerian visa if you happen to be a Nigerian. Nigerians do love to travel. But then something came up in recent times. It's been all the rage on social media talking about our return to the whole Commonwealth vista when it comes to the whole matter of visa, so that as a Nigerian you could just put your passport in your back pocket, go to the airport, and as of yore, just arrive at one of the airports in the UK and get your passport stamped, and in you go. So there was what some people have called a hoax. But then some people took very, very, very seriously. We come up with these things now and again. My guess is that it's a hoax. We're not going back to those days, but hey, what do I know? Don't believe me. We have an immigration lawyer who practices in both the UK and Nigeria to look at that whole issue. And we look at where the rumor might have started from. That is, if it confirms that it is a rumor. Because as I said, there was a time when it did obtain that as a member of the Commonwealth, Nigerians didn't require a visa, along with many other nationals. So we're happy that Barrister Femi Aina is in town, and he's also in our studio.
Thank you.
And we also have Declan Eke. How many % will you give me for my saying your surname that way?
Well, you're good.
So Declan, thank you very, very much for coming on. Declan is a human rights activist, because there are times when Nigerians will have to travel. Not all of our travel is voluntary. Some of it is in the area of Ifura, Lugwagba, and that kind of a thing. So people just have to get out of the way sometimes. Again, that is a totally different aspect to traveling. We'll be hearing about that from our team here. So to start with you, Femi, the rumor you must have heard as well.
Yes.
First of all, any truth to it that Theresa May coming on board, she's giving us something nice to start with, and so she's returned us to the good old days of Nigerians, among other nationals, don't need a visa?
But there's nothing like that.
In one sentence, there is nothing like that.
It's not, and the reason being, and also, first of all, you need to look at it from a different angle. On the 1st of August, the United Kingdom Immigration Service made an announcement that they are going to launch a 24-hour visa service in Nigeria, which is currently operating in China and South Africa. And on the 9th of August, there was a press release from the British High Commission at Abuja, and then the Nigerian media turned it into a breaking news on the 10th. And the same day on the 10th, you have this information you just quoted, that so if you're a Commonwealth citizen, you can just turn up in United Kingdom and you enter the country. It now begs the question, why did you launch 24-hour visa service on the 1st of August, and on the 10th, you can arrive in United Kingdom if you're a Commonwealth citizen? What is the point? And also, if you look at what you have on the social media, you have to be very careful if you analyze it well. They said, oh, because Theresa May is now the Prime Minister in United Kingdom, Commonwealth. If you read that story well, there is nothing there that says this is the commencement date when this will start. There is nothing there to tell you that, oh, this announcement was made by the Prime Minister either in Parliament or during her visit to Nigeria or during a discussion here. And also, there's another thing you need to appreciate is that when you talk about United Kingdom immigration law, it falls into 3 parts. You have the Immigration Act, which is the primary legislation. Then you have the immigration rules, which goes through Parliament, whereby you bring the immigration law into effect. And the third part, you have what is called a statutory instrument, whereby there's what you call a delegated legislation, which has been given to whoever is in charge of the Home Office to make immigration rules or to change things without going to Parliament. But for that to happen, what the first starting point, you still have to make a statement in Parliament first before that can happen. And if you look at the immigration law, as I look at it, even as of last night, under Appendix 2, there's a list of all the visa countries. There are about 113. And funny enough, despite the hoax or whatever you call it, Nigeria is still there. And also, this
is as countries you require that require a visa to enter the UK.
Before you even move on, there's one thing. How on earth Nigerians are going through what you call a bread and water months now because of the physical and monetary problems which is going on here. Now, there are other indices of deprivation of unemployment. There are those who are working, who are even working poor because they are not earning enough to meet their needs. Do you want to open your border of a country to let everybody come in? I'm telling you, bet me and you, they won't even arrive by plane. They will be arriving on a bus load at your country. And you have to take account of the indigenous population too. Will they be happy with this? Because immigration is good for economy, I know that. But the problem is, if people migrate and you allow a lot of people, it's going to put a lot of pressure on your public service, the health service, the school, and you know, you have people, even when you open when most of these accession countries like Lithuania and other countries join the European Union, what happened? People are complaining in UK that, look, you go into a school, there's nobody that speaks a word of English, and that is causing a lot of problem. Now, the snowball effect is what happened during the referendum when we said, look, let's have our border back, let's have our independence. We don't want to be. Now you want to, you've done that, and the people said, no, we don't want to be part of the European Union. You are now going to the Commonwealth and say, let all Commonwealth citizens, you are going to have a lot of social problems. But the nut and bolt of my point is that there is nothing like that, and people should not believe it. And as of today, go to the visa center, you will see a lot of people still lodging their application. If the news is true, why can't they take their bag and baggages and just turn up? Exactly. Bet me and you, they won't spend 24 hours before they return them to where they are coming from.
Indeed. So there you have it. It's a hoax. It's a hoax, and but then this is the nature of hoaxes. They go all around the world, so much so that even residents over there that you might have thought might have seen it differently or might have seen it a bit more clearly, are busy sending links to their loved ones to check this out. Now, Declan, be this as you know, all the things that Femi just talked about, yeah, I take that and I understand it, especially from point of view of international law and governance and planning and all of that. But as you know, there are those who say, look, I have to be in a given country that they have chosen. Sometimes they don't even choose, but I can't stay in my own country anymore for whatever reason. There's also that kind of, well, shall we call them immigrant, refugee, applicant, people who, quite frankly, are economic exiles. They just want somewhere to make a living. And so they'll be talking about the right to life, that it's about my survival here. Do you think that, are you happy with the state of receptivity of places like the UK and maybe other countries to people in those kind of dire straits?
Yeah, thank you, Uncle Yori. It's quite unfortunate that we have found ourselves in this situation in Nigeria. Nigeria is a country that is well blessed, that has got everything that some other country doesn't even have. And it will be interesting to you to know that even UK, as a nation, is also envious of what Nigeria has. But as a matter of mismanagement of our economy and the looting that has gone on for years, so many Nigerians has been made so poor that they have no other reason to think about than to see how to escape. While I talk to you now beyond UK, Nigerians are even escaping to Cotonou. Nigerians are even going to Cameroon and Gabon. When you hear things of this nature, saying that UK has now gone back to the Commonwealth regime of the early 60s and late 70s thereabouts.
Yeah, to the 70s.
You see people even putting their life on the line to make sure that they find their way there. Yeah. It might not even be going by air. Some might even decide to trek through any means and find their way there. But I'm so happy.
Negotiate the deserts.
But I'm happy that the news has come and it's gradually dying down. But you begin to ask yourself questions. If Nigeria is truly Nigeria that God has so much blessed and is well managed, why must Nigerians be thinking of jetting out or trekking out,
or just
boating out, or
looking for a different nationality? Because it's important.
Okay? Going to enslave yourself in some other person's country.
Well, that's not the way they say it.
That's not how they see it. But people like us who believes in Nigerian as a nation see it as an enslavement. Because it's a place, even if you go there genuinely, all right, there's a limit to what you can do there.
Of course.
There's a limit to what you can do. Recently, I didn't travel to UK. I traveled to one of the countries outside this nation. And despite the fact that I have a valid visa to go, my movement was still restricted.
Okay.
But that cannot happen to you in your country. So what I'm saying in essence is this. Whether it's true or false, I think the government of the day should begin to work within the resources available to make sure that the youths, Nigerians, begin to get the benefits of what makes them to be a citizen of this country. Where that begins to happen, the intent or the mindset of wanting to jet out will drastically reduce.
Okay. I'm going to come back to you. And at the moment, the situation is not like that. There's so many economic exiles. I'm the person calling them that because the only reason they're in the UK is that that is where they'll find some sort of job. And sometimes it goes beyond some sort of job into a substantial job, depending on what their qualifications are. So the main reason why they're not here is what they consider as privileges and all of that. So be all of that as it may, how easy is it to get in legally? You see humiliating scenes at visa offices, Nigerians going there prepared to spend as long as it takes. Sometimes people will camp out there. What are the difficulties? Are there special difficulties? What is it that makes Nigerians sleep over at consulates because they want to be first online tomorrow morning, as if they wanted to buy an iPhone? I understand people who do that abroad to go calm down the night before so they can be close to the top of the queue.
I don't think the reasons are not far-fetched, and I do share Declan's point to a limited extent.
Okay.
But if I have the opportunity in Nigeria, possibly you won't say Mr. Febe, I know is a solicitor in this, because I attended a polytechnic here, and at the end of the OND, I couldn't get a job. I was, I just wake up in the maritime wrapper, and from there, when people who had a job, they are going to work, they turned me into some sort of a community messenger. Once it starts raining, help us take the clothes off. If there's a fight between this and that, then they come in the evening, what happened? Then I have to tell them the story. You see, if you don't give your citizens opportunity, and for those who have opportunity, if they are using that opportunity to oppress those who are less privileged, then people will look for opportunity to migrate. And if you see, citizenship connotes a lot of rights. But there is one point I would like to mention. To apply for a visa and to get a visa, it's not a human right. Even though you may say a right to life because you want to work.
It's a privilege.
Well, it's a right for economic advancement of nations and cultural integration. You live here, you go to the United Kingdom, you go to the US, you buy goods, you come here, you sell it, you are helping the economy of that country to rise up, you are helping your own economy. And also you are getting, there's cultural integration, you are learning about people's culture and all that. Those are the positive side. But on the negative side, it's not as rosy as it looks. And if you use the word limited opportunity, that's one thing, because you still face discrimination, you face certain challenges as well. All of those has been through all that. And I have seen people, they work for an organization. When it comes to payday, they will have used them, and then when it comes to payday, then they say, okay, we will pay you, but we pay you, we like to see your passport. And you know in your heart of hearts that these people, they don't even have a passport. And what you now realize is that by the time you start pursuing the employer that, no, you have to pay them. Now you go to court, the judge said, yes, it's a breach of contract not to pay people you employ. But sometimes court take a decision based on public policy that, look, we know these people have work and they deserve to be paid. Even maybe the Bible said a good laborer deserves wages or what have you. But the difficulty is that they don't have a stay in the country. But by the time we ask you to pay them, what we are doing technically on public policy ground is that we are encouraging illegal working. So that can cause a lot of problem. And you do get a situation where people just doesn't like their face because as soon as they open the door, and also there's a question of trust because we are Nigerians. But what's the problem I have, and I think Mr. Declan mentioned that, is that the way you treat your citizens will determine whether they stay or they leave. You give them opportunity, you don't oppress them. Take for instance, you have a constitution. And the Constitution gives you certain rights under Chapter 4 of your Constitution. United Kingdom, you know, they don't have a Constitution. That's what everybody, they are made to believe. But they do have, the only thing they don't have is they don't have it codified in a bundle of documents to say this is Constitution. All your right to life, your right to liberty and everything, you see it under the Human Rights Act, but they are not codified. And in Nigeria, your Constitution even guarantees you to move freely within the country as a citizen. Now, because of what I do and where I've been, I have a multiple nationality of a sort, either for convenience, but this is my country. I have the Nigerian passport. I have passport for other adopted country. But the problem is this. When I come to Nigeria, and I'm using that Nigerian passport to travel out, somebody will stamp my passport, they said, oh, seen on departure. When I arrive in Nigeria, somebody will stamp my passport seen on arrival. Now, you have a constitution that guarantees your right to move freely within your own country. Now, if you use the other passport to travel out, nobody bothered to stamp my passport. When I'm coming in, I just put it under some electronic whatever, which is an iris something, recognize my face, I pass through. Even if somebody is sitting there, he can take the passport, look, and let me go. Now, you see, but when I'm coming here, and I use the Nigerian passport, I'm treated like a second-class citizen because somebody wants to be, either it's an utopian nation, I don't know. Somebody wants to be monitoring my movement in and out. And also, people who wants to travel, there's one thing you need to know. Immigration, you can have immigration for economic growth. And that's what is not happening here. Look, most of these advanced nations, they are now using some of these Commonwealth citizens and Commonwealth countries to advance their own economic well-being of their own nation. Take, for instance, even in United Kingdom, if you have 330,000 to invest in the economy there today, pounds, you can migrate with your wife, your children, and everybody. That 330,000, you must invest it in an existing business, or you must use it to purchase an existing business. Look at Australia. They have what is called a point-based system. Then Canada, they have a point-based system. Now, this is summer period. If you pick all the newspaper today, they will tell you University of Portsmouth representative will be at one hotel at Ikeja recruiting students because international students helps the university to grow and they bring a lot of money into trade. If I'm in China today, I want a visa to United Kingdom, they will give me 12-month visa. But if I'm in Lagos, they will give me 6-month visa because they know if I come from China, I'm coming there to spend money. Even in Malta, What they are doing now is that if you have $500,000, you can get a Maltese passport. And with that Maltese passport, you can enter 33 countries without a visa. And if you have a British passport, you can enter 47 countries. If you have a American passport, you enter 47 countries without a visa.
And if you have a Nigerian passport? If
you have a Nigerian, you enter 44 countries, but most of those 44 countries, they are just Senegal, Uganda, all these places. do you see? And the problem we have is this, and I'm glad you mentioned that issue about Commonwealth and the hosts and what have you. Nigeria is such a country that, you see, your government needs to explore opportunity. There's what you call a visa waiver scheme, which is currently operating between United Kingdom and other countries, whereby citizens of those countries, they can just arrive there, we let them in. If you have a British passport, you go to America, you can stay 90 days, nobody will bother you and what have you. So what you need to do is to get into negotiation with them and say that, look, you need to engage in what is called a Libra waiver scheme for citizens of this country, whereby this restrictive approach, because if you see the reason why they refuse people a visa, I see it on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes they are very ridiculous to the extent that you can't comprehend it. Imagine somebody who pay you, who has taken the trouble to fill an application form, and you are just refusing that person just because you said he failed to explain how he's going to travel from London to Manchester. You can see how mundane, vile, and pathetic that can get. And now, this person has spent money. Then what happens in such situations is that your situation is wrong and you must return the money. But the problem we have in Nigeria is this. There's this, leave you to God. Yes. What is in their country, all this. Rather than such people challenging the decision, what they will do is to go and reapply again. And they refuse them, then they reapply again. And now, by the time you count the cost, you just realize that these people, and all these things you are talking about, there are a lot of money-making schemes, because come 2017, all this British High Commission, the Home Office, they will not get funding from the central government again. They have to be self-funding. So the only thing they can do is to increase the visa fee, and also systematically, although if you put it to them...
Before I come to Declan, because he went there, Declan, 1 second please, because increase the visa fee because they're going to become self-funding and all of that. We talked about the special, have we talked about the special visa that's costing £750? Well, yes. That's that express one where in 24 hours, that's not a visa that concerns everybody. It's only guys who have to have something of a shotgun wedding in terms of having to travel to the UK. Maybe they just knew, and in 24 hours they have to be there. Well, the UK says, well, we got a product that we've launched in Nigeria. It's existing in other places, but it's a rolling launch. I think I was reading somewhere something about the way it operates in the Philippines yesterday night, and some other countries that you mentioned. That's going to cost £750, as they say. But we were talking before coming in here, and you said it actually will cost more by the time things are and then that is no guarantee yet.
Yes.
That if you should fail, for instance, for whatever reason, you're not going to get your £750.
Well, you probably fail because you are rushing it. So you even those who
but it was made for rushing.
Well,
it was a product that was made for rushing.
I take your point, but try to take mine. That, look, the idea is this. You want the visa in 24 hours. Definitely, because of the pressure, there's likely to be a missing piece of the jigsaw. And what they're going to do is to tell you that, look, nobody is going to call you. Look, listen, I'm sorry, Mr. Yori, if you look at the way the officer system operates in Nigeria, sometimes it's quite disturbing, in the sense that you have the documents and every other thing, the visa package, and there's something whereby you expect the visa officer to call Mr. Declan and say, look, Mr. Declan, I'm presently considering your application, but you failed to put your marriage certificate to convince me you're a family man. Rather, they will refuse him and say, because I do not believe you are going to come back and all this nonsense. Now, can you now imagine, then the lawyers come in and then they will overturn decision, because don't forget the way the decision-making process is supposed to be in an ideal setting, though it's not ideal. Once the junior officer take a decision, The decision now goes to the entry clearance manager, who is going to review it before it is sent out. And now you have, in a country like Nigeria, where a lot of people are applying on a daily basis, how many applications is it going to review in a day? And it's a human being at the end of it. So we say, oh, have you considered everything? Okay, send it out. And then you will now get this decision, whereby they will tell you did not put your bank statement, where that bank statement was even there, or you did not explain this, just because the officer didn't take the time to look at it. And then you get a situation, before they even send it out to you, they are supposed to take photocopy of everything in their file. By the time you now start challenging them, you just realize them begging, you get to a situation where they are calling you, begging if you can get your client to send us a copy of this. And then you wonder why, because they are just taking what you call a Mickey. And what people need to do is this. And Nigerians, I'm very sorry. Sometimes I see people, I just wonder whether they are so gullible. You arrive in United Kingdom or America or any of this country, and they don't allow you in. And somebody just called you and said, look, if you challenge our decision, we are going to detain you 6 months. The next thing they will do is to hands up and say, let me sign. Now, what happened to Geneva Convention? This is a country when police stop them, that you see them quoting the rights. But when they travel abroad, they forget that right. Why don't you say, no, okay, fair enough, but let me speak to my lawyer first before you send me back.
That's
and then I give way for Mr. Declan.
Now, Declan, all of that to one side, he spoke about the Nigerian visa. I have heard tell that, I wouldn't know because I'm a Nigerian, so I don't need a Nigerian visa. But I've heard it's very difficult to get a Nigerian visa. I don't know what you think, if that is as you think it should be. When they mention that a visa is difficult, I don't imagine any visa is easy, but when they now say it's difficult, it must mean that there's much more, maybe the processes are longer and all of that. Is that something that you approve of? Or, because I heard you gently criticize Nigerians that are too much in a hurry to go out and not look within and go out, that it is reportedly slightly more difficult than ordinary to get into Nigeria. Is that satisfactory to you?
To get into Nigeria?
Yes, a foreigner. A foreigner wanting to come into Nigeria. We talked about, I know we're talking about Nigerians trying to get abroad and become a British citizen, American and Australian and all of that. Now, how about those wanting to come in to Nigeria?
Thank you, Uncle Yori. You see, like I said, it's quite unfortunate. We Nigerians or Africans are very, very gullible. You know, we respect anything that is not our own.
That is foreign.
That is foreign. We respect it so much. And that is why what British is practicing with Nigerians today is what I call policy of association. Okay, we going now, we relating with them is based on association.
Yes, because we've had this long relationship.
And what implies between France and its colonies is what I call policy of assimilation. So vice versa, when a foreigner is coming into Nigeria, we Nigerians apply policy of assimilation.
Oh dear, oh dear.
You understand? We just want to bring them in. Okay?
Okay.
And why we want to go out.
But if that is the case, yes, they wouldn't be saying how difficult the Nigerian visa is difficult.
Nigerian visa is not difficult. It depends on how you see it. I will say something to you. Some time ago, there is this factory somewhere around Agege, where you have these Chinese guys working there. And I remember that SFU, Special Fraud Unit of Nigerian Police Force, went there to arrest so many of them. And I tell you, you begin to be surprised how they even managed to come into the country.
I see. I see.
You begin to shake. How did they manage to come into this country? To the extent that they even own a company that is paying Nigerians salary. Okay? That's why I said we always want to welcome anything that is.
So on the contrary, yes, the Nigerian visa is not difficult from this example you cite.
It's not.
And I noticed that Femi was sort of, nodding that.
Yeah, it's not. It's what I feel and what implies is that when you have your money, you can buy into Nigeria. You can buy into Africa.
Well, Femi just explained that when you have your money, you can buy into the UK.
Yeah,
if you have 300
yeah.
and if you have 350,000
No,
pounds.
what I mean,
you say carry all your family, all your in-laws.
It's quite different. It's quite different.
Okay.
The money that you are going to pay coming into Nigeria does not go into Nigeria as a country. It goes into certain individuals. All right, but the one you are paying to them goes straight into their economy.
Yes.
All right.
So there's that big difference.
Fine, and that was why I said we're always gullible. Gullible in the sense that the person issuing that visa to the white man coming in, what does he have in mind? Does he want to enrich himself? Does he want to enrich the country? Because if the intention is to enrich the country, the experience I just gave out now, okay, wouldn't have been there.
You know what? We're going to continue. Let me go on a quick break now. They want me to go on a quick break. We'll come back, and I'll also check from Femi why he agrees when he was doubtful that Nigerian visas are that tough to get. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Still having the studio Barrister Femi Aina, an immigration lawyer. He works has offices in both the UK and Nigeria, number of venues in Nigeria, and Declan Ikekare, human rights activist. Against the backdrop of, we were speaking off air, and Femi was telling me that properly, duly registered Nigerians in the UK, for example, from his experience, you're probably looking at something like 30,000. But it's anyone's guess when it comes to total number of Nigerians. And there are suggestions that it can be as high as 5 million in the UK. But at least Femi says that he works in the field and he can tell us that you're not looking at much more than 30,000 in terms of properly and duly registered. But there will be sort of overlapping of figures in that regard. Now, coming back to the point we left on, which was how difficult or not it is to get in. I know that between countries, the reciprocity principle sometimes obtains. You do certain things, some countries take umbrage and say, fine. Those things will apply when your citizens want to come into our country. But you thought that the Nigerian visa is not that difficult to get. Could you explain that, please?
Well, ideally, do you even have, what's the population of United Kingdom? It's only 63 million. And if you look at the Immigration Act, it's as bulky as this. And what's the population of Nigeria? And if you look at your immigration law, it's just, it's just like this. So it's just unfortunate. I have it in the immigration, the 2015 Act and the old Act. I have them in my office. And I have the one for United Kingdom. And you see, it boils down to the inadequacy of the law and also the way the system operates. How many immigration officers do you have in Nigeria? As at last count, you had, I think I was at a seminar where the minister was there and they said, you have 23,000 immigration officers in a country of
120 million.
170 million. And then you have 453 porous illegal routes to come into the country. And also, the problem you even have is the way these people will come in because of the system, the way the system operates. Number one, if you pick the newspaper today, they will tell you immigration officer went to an address in Agege. They pick all these people and they deported them overnight to wherever they come from. You see, you can't do that. It's never done. Because you still have obligation to those people under international law. And your country is a signatory to those international principles. They now come in this country. You don't even have immigration detention center where you detain people who enter your country illegally. How come in this country you don't give the judges power? Somebody can come from Republic of Benin and commit a heinous crime here. The judge will sentence him to 3-4 years imprisonment. At the same time, you have to make a deportation order against him, banishing him from coming to this country. And what is happening in United Kingdom is that under Section 1, I don't want to go to the law, but under Section 100 of the Act, is that once you are sentenced to a period of imprisonment, which is more than 12 months, automatic deportation applies to you.
Before or after the sentence?
No, once you finish your sentence.
Okay, you will serve it, and then you'll be deported
then
to your
you will
country.
be deported. So what will happen is that while you are serving the imprisonment, you go into prison. And then once you finish, they now move you to immigration detention center so that they process you and they send you back. I think there was a program, one of your sister programs, where they say, oh, there was mass deportation of Nigerians at a point of time. No, it wasn't a mass deportation, because what happened is that some of these boys, some of them have finished their prison sentence. And then they come into the country on what is called a chartered flight. And because it's a charter flight, they will pick one in Manchester. They will go to Ireland and pick some, because you need a number of people. Otherwise, it will not be cost effective. Yes, exactly. So you get that situation. And in Nigeria, the problem you have is that once you pick these people, there should be a place. You take them before the court. It doesn't have to be. If we look at Section 251 of the Nigerian Constitution, issues relating to immigration and nationality has to go to the Federal High Court. And this Federal High Court is where everybody is going to because of one political problem or the other. How will they now have time to deal with the deportation of people, the undesirable, who are not supposed to be in this country? So what the officers will do, the temptation to take money, because they know they don't have a legal recourse where they can take the people. And what is supposed to happen? Look, you have been here maybe from inception, you are experienced. Why can't we designate you as a part-time immigration judge? Whether this man should stay or not, you can decide. And you can make a deportation order. If he comes back, you will go to prison. And what happens?
So, and that obtains in other countries?
That's obtained in other countries, even. And the way the legal system...
Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah, please.
I hear what you're saying, but I was thinking of a person walking into the Nigerian High Commission in the US somewhere, or any country.
Yes.
That is what I thought was difficult.
You see, the problem is not difficult, because they just give them the visa as soon as they show their face and they pay the fee. They don't even check their criminal background. And I can tell you, most of these foreigners who are coming here, majority of them are criminals. I know that because of what I do, and I'm in a privileged position. Some of them are pedophiles. Some of them have even been banned from entering certain countries. So what you need to do is to try as much as possible and check their background, but they don't do that.
We're not thorough in that. Okay, Sheyi might have a question. I think Sheyi is calling in from Surulere. Good morning, Sheyi.
Hello, sir. Sheyi from Surulere, sir. My question is that last week in my area, there was immigration that came to, boggle a lady that is selling a fish. And the lady was telling them that he didn't know that they are calling her. So unfortunately, they had her to go. They took her fish with her and she left with them. So my question is, you are talking about immigration and you are talking about Visa UK, and I've been waiting for over an hour. And I want to know how the process about immigration, is it necessary that, my own understanding about immigration is that if the person has been staying in Nigeria for more than a year, maybe he got married to a Nigerian person, maybe for a state, that might be 25 years or 23 years I've been staying with the Nigerian person, and he got married. Is it right for the person, yet maybe he hasn't got his immigration or whatever, or is he not a Nigerian citizen? Is he able to, deport her to Cotonou, or if he's from a Cotonou or a Ghanaian?
I think...
okay,
do you want to deal with that?
I think this is a technical question.
Yeah.
Maybe let's hear from...
No. I think it's not as technical as
because
it looks. Look at Section 28 of your Constitution. I think that deals with the issue of citizenship and the right to stay.
Yeah.
I think if my memory serves me right, if you are from many of these African countries and you marry a Nigerian national and you are in a stable relationship with that person, I think you can get the citizenship if I'm right. But I think there's but by and large, I know there's a provision there that people like that, they will be given the opportunity to stay. But the other aspect is that, some of these ECOWAS countries, there's an ECOWAS treaty that allows some of these people to come into the country to come and trade. And if you look at Article 29 of the ECOWAS treaty, it didn't say they must. You may allow them, you must give them some sort of free movement right without subjecting them to unnecessary immigration control. But it doesn't say you must do it. You must still manage to. And what normally happens in certain countries is that they have a system where they give you something like they call laissez-passer, whereby you can just come in, do whatever you want to do, and you return. Okay. And then what happened in Nigeria from experience is that I see people coming from this ECOWAS country, they come and trade in Nigeria in the morning, they go back, because that comes within the ambit of the free trade within the economic ECOWAS treaty. But that does not mean you can't subject them to immigration control.
Okay. In the meantime, Mrs. Oye came in, Declan. I'll be right with you. Good morning, Mrs. Oye.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
This visa case, which is just coming up now, if Nigeria could treat us like that on even the passport taking, how much do you want people not to fly out? Even Nigeria today, as of today, if you want to take passport, you know how much it costs? From 100 naira to 500 to 1,000, now to about 30-something or 60-something thousand. And you think it's fair enough? Let the governors be well to the citizenry, just like the other gentleman there.
Declan said.
The other man there. Let everything be okay with us or with the youth. Then the youth should find ourselves. About the immigration, you know what immigration are. The borders are porous everywhere, and they said people are just here. Factories springing up around the corridor and everything with only 2 or 3 or 4 of these white juggernauts. And then they just bring their families, they bring their children, they bring everybody without a record. Let the things be done properly.
Okay.
It's not good for us to go out. It's not good for the youth to go out, but let the country be managed well. Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much, madam, for calling in, echoing Declan's sentiment that if only we would look in, but the modern youth, just he wants to see those bright lights. Jobs that they won't do here, they don't mind doing abroad. It's a very Nigerian thing. This is the truth, and this is the way it is.
It's well paid.
It's well paid. That one they don't want to do here is well paid over there. So they will do it. But the point that the madam brought up just now about let us treat ourselves right, and then perhaps there will be. But right now, I don't know. Everybody, as you know, it's in the polity, we're talking about it. Everybody wants, if not themselves, their kids to be abroad. And that in itself is not a vote of confidence for the country.
All right. Uncle Yori, I think at this point we need to say or speak the truth about us. It's quite unfortunate that...
Okay. Just listen to Reverend Dominic's comments, and then you might include that in your response. Good morning, Reverend Dominic.
Thank you. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Yori, there's a little question I want to ask. Why is it I travel a lot? Let me take West Africa. You walk into Cotonou and you want to sleep in a hotel. They won't allow you to deposit your passport.
Very well.
But you come into Nigeria. Somebody will walk into a hotel. It doesn't matter whether it's 3-star or 5-star. They will give you a bed and give you a handshake. What risk do we put ourselves? And what is the benefit that a hoteler in Cotonou will never, no matter what you do to him or her, except in the hotel until you show you have a valid passport. But it's not the same way in our nation. This question I want to ask the education expert here, the lawyer. Why is it's not security risk that anybody can sleep in a hotel in Nigeria, even though we don't know him. But you can't do that. No matter even the free movement of ECOWAS business. And number 2, Nigeria must move out of Nigeria. Because I've lived in Lagos for 20 years. I've not taken a sight for water as Reverend Dominic in Lagos. But if you go to UK or America or where we travel to, the poorest man has right to drink a clean water. The poorest of the poor can live in clean environment. But in a situation here, The bodies of the poor is compounded. Give you a little water, they are going to drink. So when you see our brothers here, and you say, why not come back home? They look at you as
you must be mad or something.
Understand? So that's the reason why Nigerian people are moving from here. Not because we are too bad, because the least thing we can enjoy as citizens is not here before.
Indeed.
Let me leave for somebody else to continue.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Declan.
Uncle Yori, see, like, I want to thank the callers.
Reverend Dominic.
Yeah, they have really spoken my mind, and the fact is that we have to speak the truth. In a situation where you still see our leaders, mere headache, they jet out. Mere toothache, they jet out. How many of them have their children in private school here or public school here? These are issues.
There's one governor. Which governor? Let memory serve me. Was it Edo? Was it the Edo state governor? It's either Edo or Kaduna.
One of the governors. Yeah, I think Kaduna.
Kaduna.
Yeah.
Say every commissioner here should go and, if he has any kids in a private school, go and withdraw them and put them in a public school.
You're right. See, the psyche of an average Nigerian is to look up to the leader. What is my leader doing? If my leader could do this, I should also do it.
How much less me?
How much less me? We have so many tourist centers in this country that we can travel to for tourism.
But those ones are not developed.
I am coming. We could develop it. Reverend Dominic spoke about clean water. We go out of this country, we see things there. We refuse to replicate those things in this country. Why should this be? This is the malgovernance. And that is why UK could just throw the carrot and say, yes, our border, everything about us, our visa is free. And you see Nigerians saying we must go.
No, UK didn't throw the carrot.
No, I'm just saying it. I'm just saying
that hoax. Why people would accept.
People quickly accepted it because people are ready to go out.
Yeah, because they're desperate.
Even to go and wash cups. That is the truth of the matter. And I am saying as an activist, until we get back to the old good years of Nigeria, whereby things value, people value who we are, value everything about us. I remember even the 60s when visa was free to go to UK. Nigerians were not going there to go and wash cups.
This is the
They
irony.
were not going there to be a megad. They will only go there.
They were not even traveling.
I'm coming. They will just go there for going safe, just for ego. Yes, I was in UK and I came back. Just of recent, that things was bastardized, that you see Nigerians even wanting to go to UK, walk as many times as possible from one gate man to security. I mean, why all this?
Well, it goes back to, you see, Declan, you're an activist. It goes back to what I imagine even the federal government is working on. That is to say, they're talking about employment, they're talking about creating jobs, all that kind of thing. Yes, until there are jobs.
Uncle Yori, we've been hearing about creation of jobs for so many years. I am so fed up with palliative. I want to see Nigerian youths getting into the system, enjoying what belongs to them. Let us do it. UK did it. Nobody did it for UK. They did it on their own. We can do it here. We can replicate all those things here. What we need is good leadership.
Okay. Mazi Okoroafo, thank you for holding on. Please go ahead now.
Good morning, Mr. Ayodi. Good morning, our guest in the studio, Comrade Mazi Patrick Okoroafo of Arochukwu, Yabia State. You see, Nigerian schools is a very nice place. A nice place in the sense that if you look at, let's take an example like Ghana. You see, in Ghana, we have only five schools that belong to only to the government, only 5. The rest, over 100, are private. Now, many Nigerians run to that place. Now, what does it take us to make our schools good place? Now, let me pick an example for the school. Down here in East. If you come to school now, you see a lecture room made for only 100 students. Over 500 students are going there to speak down. What does it take? Every time we are talking about going to abroad, collect visa, this and that. What does it take? Federal government gave money to our university and to vice chancellors to put the school in order. What did happen? We did not take it. Instead of the BC to go and build hostels, build class lecture rooms, some of them decided to go and use and do roads. And the road that is not, even if you go back to that, it's just in zero base. Now, what is our basis? Nigerian government respect foreign certificates. That is why you see all these massive people running abroad. If you go to any employment sector, I still remember when I lived in Baton Falak in 1986. I went for an interview. What did I do? The people that came from abroad with certificate, they were respecting those that we that school here now. I was from Port here. Now, like soon as I asked them, so it's a crime for one to school in Nigeria. Now look at how the people are not making us visa. Even some of the same school fees they pay. Let's say, for example, like Ukraine. If you go to Ukraine, you have universities that collect around 200 and 300,000 a year. The same thing, come back to Nigeria. You see how they do that, they will collect site and operate and to go and build universities. It's already to make the school at least for the masses to benefit. You collect 1,800,000 naira. The same people that contributed to the building of that event, they are not benefiting. You see, they don't even know where we are headed. Every time we say government, tell universities, play politics. Governor would like to carry university to his own village, even to the solid and not to that place. Leaving the actual place on what to do. Bring that money, let the equip nobody will know. Now look at what God is doing. See, look at the confusion in Nigeria. Some students went to write camp. After writing the jam, they did not see results. If someone there was not opportunity to write it because maybe your center was given to Bagada phase 1 and your center is Bagada phase 2. By the time you leave Bagada phase 1 to go to that, they are finished inside. And you know they are not over 50,000. So far that nobody's talking about it. And instead of we are talking about Nigeria is not going abroad. Whether you go to Jericho and come back, what you get from the university inside the room is different from practical work. Because what you show that the lecturer will come there and bulldoze you, carry everything out there, Formula 8, this is a work program, this one, equation, this and that. It's different from what you're going to see in the real society. Please, let our government make sure anybody that's ready to take care of advantage should be a seasoned educationalist. If you're not educationalist, you should not have anything to do that. We don't have politics education.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Okorafor. Where was I? I think, who was I with?
You finished,
we just finished with Declan. As we're saying, this thing is difficult to get into the UK, but difficult is relative. It depends on who's speaking and how the process is going through. There appear to be, you were talking about immigration benefiting countries, and it's a strategic issue. As you know, that there are professionals that it is easy for. Nurses, for example, I see papers and I see different countries saying that, look, if you have nursing certification up to a certain level, please come. Doctors, please come. And so on and so forth.
Because there's what you call shortage labor skills, whereby you do a research and you realize that you don't have enough nurses,
carpenters, nurses, whatever.
What you need to do is to come up with a liberal immigration policy and allow the immigration service in your country to go abroad and source for these people. Previously, you will know that why you have a lot of Nigerian nurses in United Kingdom, because it was a shortage. There are a lot
they have a shortage over there.
Yes, as at that time. Okay. So once they come in, they give them 4 years. At the end of the 4 years, they get their permanent resident. And so that, but now that has stopped because we now realize they have a lot of indigenous population or their own citizens
so
who are going into nursing. They've stopped it. And then what they are now doing is to go to the India under what is called Tier 2. Tier 2 allow you to export people from abroad to come and work in your organization. For instance, some of the Indians, you do need some specialty in order to prepare the curry, which when you take somebody, so you can't get in Nigeria to do that. So what you need to do is to come up. They will go to India and then they will recruit people to come and work in United Kingdom under what you call Tier 2. You see, immigration has a lot of benefit, but Nigeria, for one reason or the other, which is quite disturbing, and you have the legislators who are engrossing unnecessary argument. You are not. The country is not benefiting from that, and it's quite unfortunate.
So
look. Let's no, it's there because he mentioned it that you have a lot of tourist attraction. Okay, let's look at it this way. Our Minister South Africa came to this country some months ago, and sorry, somebody's on the line. Or, no, I should go. About so many. Yes, I take it. So many South Africans, they came to for a church service or whatever, and unfortunately they perished or something happened. Okay, which is quite unfortunate, but. You see, this is where you need a very good government, and it's very important. And what you can do is this. If you want to come to Nigeria for either religious worship or to attend a church service or this, you must be able to attend a church service. But at the same time, you must be able to visit some of these tourist attractions in Nigeria. And what you can even do, you can take a bond from them that if you are coming, number one, you must be able to lodge $1,000. So by the time you return back to your country, we will give that money back. That $1,000, if you take it from 100 people, you know how much it is. You can invest it overnight or within 2 weeks, you get something.
In
and
other
also,
words, you must think strategically
exactly.
about
And
these
that
matters.
is it. And the world is moving, but for some reason, Nigeria seems to be standing still.
Well,
and that is why people want to migrate.
And become someone else.
Yes, and then he talks about washing cups and working as a security. All of us have been through it, but they are well paid. At the same time, if you are in your country and you don't get a job, and you get somewhere where somebody is going to pay you £7 an hour in pounds as a security guard, why not put the certificate inside and just put on the jacket and go and stand at the gate and make your money? It's as if because people want to survive, and that's the reality of it.
And in any case, they think of the ordered society that let me at least enjoy, let me just make breeze blow me small before coming back. At this rate, we've got to leave it here. But I want to thank you both, gentlemen, for shedding light on this. Principally, that that whole hoax about we're back to the Commonwealth days, Nigerians don't need a visa to come to the UK, not entirely true. In fact, not true at all. Nothing has changed. But there were things that you brought out, the angles, and also, Declan, you brought it out along with some of our callers that Mrs. Oye, in particular from Ikorodu, that maybe we should look internally and see what we can do to make the best of what we have. But government needs to just make the place attractive for Nigerians who wish to give it a shot. Let them not spend all their energies with looking for £300,000 to go and become a British citizen. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. I'll see you next week, God being my strength. Until then, I'm Yori Folani. Have a great weekend.